Joining me now live from their homes in Leeds, straight into yours, we have property agent Faji, retired couple Liz and Phil, stay-at-home mum of 6, Sadif, and also with us Claire, a retired teacher. Hello everyone, how are we doing?
Very well.
Okay, thank you.
Good to see you again. We were talking about this time last week, weren't we, about life on lockdown where you are. We're all talking via Zoom. Everyone at home will now be familiar with this because they chat to their friends and family in exactly the same way most days, and there's a few pub quizzes going on as well, I know. If I could just ask you to all put yourselves on mute while I just talk, and then when I ask you a question, if you can unmute yourselves, or if you want to talk to each other, which I know you've been doing over the last few weeks, just unmute yourself to be heard. Sadif, I'm going to come to you first because you are where this all began, with a letter you popped through everybody's letterbox to get everyone together, and a WhatsApp group came from that. And since we spoke 7 days ago, that WhatsApp group has swelled in number.
Yeah, it has. It's been absolutely amazing. Another 10 households have joined in our group now. So we've got a total of 40 households from the street who are in the WhatsApp group. And it is absolutely fantastic. The group is very active every day. We've got people messaging. We've got, we keep up to date with each other, check in with each other. And it's really, really have, given such a boost to the morale on the street. Spirits are really high now because of the group. I think it's a fantastic group and a lovely mixture of people as well. Amazing.
Yeah, what other kinds of people have joined your ranks? Obviously, you're a mother of 6. We've got Faji, the businessman, got a retired teacher, Liz and Phil. There's so many different kinds of households in the street. Who has been added to the mix? What are they like?
So we've got actually a lot of our key workers have joined in now as well, which is amazing because, we're finding out what they're doing from the front line as well. We've got younger people joining now. We've got a few teenagers who have joined into the group as well. So it's a lovely mixture of ages. It's a lovely mixture of, people doing different things. We've got older people, younger people. It's just a fantastic bunch of people.
Yeah, you're really building a community while you're on lockdown. And Faji, again, last time we spoke, it was, again, the eve before Clap for Carers. I know you were heading out as a street, as you do every Thursday, Faji. And it's also the start of Ramadan as well. So you were signalling the start of that. How's that been for the last week?
Well, since last week, the lockdown has been quite challenging. It is quite hard to stay at home and fast for over 18 hours. Normally, I would have socialised with friends, but unfortunately, I can't do that. And that has raised a lot of anxiety for me. However, the group has been absolutely amazing. Whenever I feel anxious or depressed, I just text the group and they come out with such positive vibe, and that keeps me motivated and going. And also in my spare time, I've just started reading a lot of more books, and it's made me more spiritual and getting me more closer to my faith. And that's what Ramadan is all about. These are our Prophet's teachings, and it's just a matter about staying humble, staying together, appreciating everything you have, loving your neighbours, showing love and compassion. And it's like a blessing for me because whenever I've opened the glorious Quran, all them basic teachings are just what we're doing today. So it is something overwhelming for me, and it just keeps me positive and going, yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you're finding a different side to Ramadan, because obviously you celebrate and mark it differently. I love that. Claire, I'm going to come to you. How have you been doing for the last week? We've all noticed a change in the weather. Where I am in London, it's pretty grey and miserable, and that can make a difference, can't it, to life on lockdown? What's it been like up in Leeds?
Well, I mean, the weather hasn't been that great, but I think, like Faji says, it's been quite a challenging week. And as it goes on, you can get, well, I can get quite anxious and fearful. And I've found that like the energy from media reports can be one of high anxiety. It's easy to be seduced by that, and you become part of that fear. And the more negative emotion there is, the more it hooks people in, and it kind of takes over your mind. So I find what is helpful is to be as present in the moment as you can. And one way for me to do this is by crafting. So this week I've spent quite a lot of time doing some wet felting, which is...
What's that?
You use sheep's wool to build up pictures or objects, and then you felt it with warm water, soap, and a lot of agitation with it, moving it about a bit, and yeah, it creates pictures and stuff like that. So it can help you be really mindful.
Oh, Claire, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the finished results. Maybe next week you can unveil them. Listen, Phil, how are you getting on? Because, Phil, I know when we spoke last week, you were concerned about your mum, Phil, who is in the vulnerable category, and you couldn't get to see her. And there's some concerns about hospital visits as well.
Yeah, well, so I'm still concerned about my mum. Nothing much has changed there. We speak to her every day. Liz had to go to the hospital for a scan, which was worrying for both of us, both because the scan might show something, but also just the thought of her going into a hospital at the moment for an hour or two, when obviously it's a big source of infection. For the latter, we seem to have survived.
We do.
And we're just waiting for the results.
I didn't want him to come with me originally, but I was, I don't think I was fit to drive, so I got him to take me there and then leave me at the door. And I went in and did my appointment on my own.
Liz, that is the thing, isn't it? When you have to go into hospital at the moment, you're not allowed to take anyone with you. I feel for you. I've been through exactly the same experience in the last couple of weeks. But I don't know about you. What I noticed is not only are NHS staff at the moment providing excellent medical care, but they're also stepping up their emotional support. I was overwhelmed by the kindness and the fact that they stepped up their game, because they're in PPE. You can't see their faces. It's very impersonal. And you're going in there, you know, worried and alone. Is that the experience you had? Because I found it strangely reassuring.
Very much so. It was from when I entered the hospital and sort of went to the reception. They were really pleasant, you know, sort of processed me very quickly, but with a human touch. And then when I got to, you know, having my examination, she was lovely. It was super. Well, about as super as it can be.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I understand exactly what you mean, Liz. Oh, it's good that you had Phil to come out there too, and you two are supporting each other. And we've got our fingers crossed for you in the results of those that scan. Just in terms of, you know, the clap for carers, obviously as a couple, that much must take on particular resonance for you. In light of that, obviously Phil thinking about your mum, Liz thinking about your own health, and finding out that now you've got key workers on your street, you've got people on your road who are going in every day to work on the front line.
Yeah, we made a banner
With all the names on.
with all the names of the people on our street on.
No, we're very grateful to everybody who's putting their lives at risk. Not just the NHS. She's had a tumble when she was doing a run at the weekend. And there were a couple of police officers there who came and picked her up and dusted her off and sorted her out. It really makes you realise how important all these people are to our lives. It's easy to just take them for granted in normal life.
Yeah.
But they're making a huge difference.
Yeah, those people on the front line and our neighbours as well. Sadiq, how are you getting on with homeschooling? Because I know you're a mum of 6. My stepson is staying with us this week. It's been interesting trying to work from home. Give me some tips. You've got 6 kids to juggle. How are you doing?
You know, honestly, this week I think has been a bit of a breaking point for me. I think, you know, the first few weeks I was getting the hang of it, but I will be honest with you, this week I think I've just completely given up. I mean, the children's schools are fantastic. They're checking in with us every other day. Absolutely amazing. And in my opinion now, I respected teachers so much before, but now I have major, major respect and love for all those teachers out there, because I am really struggling, I'll be honest with you, sort of managing the home, managing cleaning, you know, cooking, and then I go out a lot, do a lot of work within the community as well. So for me, you know, trying to homeschool 5 children as well, I've just given up.
I love your honesty. I love your honesty.
I've given up. Also, parents out there as well, you know, do not beat yourselves up about it. I think the situation that we are all in now, it is something nobody could have ever predicted or planned for. Take each day as it comes and just enjoy that time as a family. Don't put yourself through extra stress. That's my motto.
Yes, Anif, that's such good advice. It's okay not for everything not to be okay during a global pandemic. And there has been a bit of good news today. Actually, Claire, I'll put this to you because you were talking about obviously the news making you quite anxious at the moment. It's really important to get a balanced news diet, to look for the good news as well as the bad news, which is just, you know, sadly part and parcel of what we're going through. But the Prime Minister today and his fiancée having a baby boy. I mean, do you find that cause for optimism? Is that a boost for the nation's morale?
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. I think any news of any new births is really, really happy and positive. Yeah, and it's nice to have something positive on the news for once. Yeah, I think every news program should start off with 5 minutes of positivity, and then you can decide if you want to switch off after that or not.
Believe me, we are looking for it, Claire, here on Sky News. We really are. In fact, it's good for me to plug my new podcast, In This Together. It is chocker with positive, good news, Claire. We've got it on the Sky News platform all over the place, but it is in one place for you to listen to. And Fadji, just finally for you, obviously Ramadan continues, and you were saying that you were finding new positives from that and from your whole experience. What are your plans for the week ahead to keep your mind right in lockdown and keep going?
Well, making these little vlogs that I'm doing, so I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, saying I'm jolly, I'm funny, and keeping everyone smile, and that's the ethics I've been brought up with. And for me, sometimes, I do get a bit emotional. Over 20,000 people passing away, and your loved ones, you can't even see them getting buried. It's just, it's question. We need to question ourselves. What we're doing in life and what's the purpose of our life, and just cherish every moment. I mean, I had about 5 holidays booked this year. Potentially, they're all going to get cancelled. So, and what I'm looking forward for now is, once the flight is open, I'm going to fly out for a long time, and I'm going to do a lot of charity work and go around, to like the third world countries and see how they are like as well, because it's an eye-opener really, and believe me, I'm going to go for a long time and love every moment of it. Life is too short, so that's just me.